I will call the
That was dark.
first 2025 Park Commission meeting to order. First order of business is the roll call.
All right, I'm going to call roll. Rod Axtell, are you here?
Present.
Present. Ronald Barnes, are you here?
Here.
Present. Hussein Dahir, are you here? He has an excused absence. Mr. Eagle, are you here?
I am.
Here. Kathy Gustafson resigned her seat. Cynthia Hunt, are you here?
I am here.
Here. Ron Lindell, are you here?
Right over here.
Here. Karen Lundquist, are you here?
Yep, I'm here.
Here. Jamil Masruche, are you here?
Here.
Here. Edie McGovern, are you here?
I'm here.
Here. Emily Melby, are you here?
Here.
Here. Landalafa Oripo, are you here?
Present.
Present. Chair Peterson, are you here?
I am.
Here. Michael Ramirez, are you here? Absent. Mark Thorson, are you here?
Here.
Here. That's roll.
Thank you. Tonight's the organizational meeting for the Park Commission, which means we'll be electing a couple roles and officers. So that's really section 3 here. So start out by call item 3.1, which is appointing a recording secretary. Require that we have one. Adrian is currently our secretary. I would have a motion to appoint someone as the secretary of the commission.
So moved.
Second.
And were you thinking Adrian as the?
Yes. If he's willing.
It's been moved and seconded. Appointed the recording secretary. Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll move to a vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the motion carries unanimously. Next up is the attorney. The attorney represents us. And while we have recently used the services of the city attorney for this role, I want to remind people that we have the ability to pick from that job. And so if there's great satisfaction with what Melissa has been doing, that now would be the time to kind of trot that out and send her on her way. I personally have been very happy with the work that she's been doing, but if, I want to make sure that people understand that we do have a choice in who we pick for that. So with that, I will open the floor to nominations for attorney for the Charter Commission or a motion.
I move that we appoint Melissa.
Okay,
as
second
the attorney.
motion by Lindell. Second. Seconded by,
Person.
Neil, you seconded it. Yep. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye. Aye.
Next up is item 3.3, electing a chair. I will open the floor to motions on this item.
Mr. Chair, I make a motion to reappoint you as chair.
Is there a second?
I second.
I would be happy to do it again.
Oh, nice.
Is there any discussion?
God.
Hearing none, we'll come to a vote. All those in favor say aye.
Okay.
Those opposed, motion carries unanimously. And finally, we have the vice chair position. Albie is currently the vice chair. I would open the floor to a motion regarding the vice chair position.
I would nominate Emily Melby.
There's a second.
Second.
Go ahead.
It's been seconded that Emily be reappointed as the vice chair of the Charter Commission. Are you willing to do that?
Yes,
Okay.
thank you.
Any discussions? Hearing none, we'll come to a vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the motion carries unanimously. Next item up is item 4.1, approving the meeting minutes. And we are approving the minutes of here. May 2nd, 2024 regular meeting, the July 10th, 24 meeting, and then the January 9th. Opens to those minutes before I hear a motion.
If I may also, pursuant to the bylaws that we recently updated last year, they're provided, they're sent out to, I believe, the chair and the vice chair within a couple of days after the meeting. And any clarifications are made and then they're sent out by Adrian to the entire commission. So these should be ones that would have already have been received by you, with the exception of perhaps, I don't know, did you get the April 10th ones out to the whole group?
I think I did.
Okay, if not, I know that they were in the packet, so.
Yeah, they're in here.
Just wanted to make sure that you all, that have been circulating for a while.
And while I do look at them before they go out, I'm not perfect. And so if if people find things, happy to make changes. So anybody have any modifications? Minutes? With that, then I would accept a motion to adopt all of those minutes in one shot. Neil, a second?
Second.
Second by Ronald. Any discussion? If none, we'll come to a vote. All those in favor saying aye. Motion carries unanimously.
Chair, I wasn't here on the July 10th meeting, so.
That's noted. Yep. Nothing under 5 unfinished business, so we'll move on to new business. So one follow-up from the 2020. So, just a reminder for the group, as part of the charter review, we had a couple changes that we were interested in doing. I think they fell into 2 categories, ones that required nothing and ones that I think we were ready to kind of move forward on, related to the change of titles in the city offices. And so the ones that came forward at this one were really primarily focused on the changes. And so Melissa, I'll hand it off to you to kind of walk through.
Thank you, Chair. We have a PowerPoint presentation here. Adrian, next slide. So as a reminder, there are several different ways to amend the charter, and as part of your request to me, following the review of charter chapters 4, 5, and 6 over the past couple of months, I'm proposing that we do it by city council amendment by ordinance, which requires a unanimous vote. And by unanimous, it means all 7 members of the city council have to vote in favor. All right, as a reminder, we're moving forward, or per your request, we're moving forward with amendments to chapter 5, which were discussed at the last April 10th meeting, and chapter 6, which were discussed at the April 10th meeting and the one before that. There were other amendments that were discussed related to percentages and how often we had received and processed petitions in the past. Also amendments to 6.06 and 6.07 related to readability. And we discussed those at the last meeting. Given the tight time frame between, it was about 10 days between our meeting and getting the packet out for this meeting pursuant to our rules. We didn't have enough time to do a thorough job required to bring that to you for this meeting. But we certainly can do that at the next time that we meet, probably for our periodic review sessions whenever you want them to be, but probably next year. And we can do some more research on that. We have to go into the dark storage areas of the clerk's office to get that information. And then also we wanted to take a little bit more time and have more people involved in the discussion of 6.06 and 6.07 because some folks that were very interested in that weren't present. So we wanted to make sure everybody got to be here. All right, with that as an introduction, we'll start with chapter 5. As you recall, there was a request, 2 different kinds of amendments going on here in these 3 sections. The first type, they're all clerical, clarifying, I should say. It's largely clerical in nature. So there was a request in the title of each of them to match because each of these petition sections had a different cadence in the naming of them. And then also there was a request to change the petition form to add email and telephone to make the confirmation and communication process easier for the city clerk during the back and forth, that the process that's required by each of these initiative, referendum, and recall. So the orange is language that is I'm proposing be struck, and the blue underlined is language I'm proposing to be added. That's not the actual way that we have to do it in our city ordinance proposals, but I just thought for ease of seeing it, I thought I would do it like this for you. And thank you, Adrian. So that's the next one, same kind of thing going on. And then the next one is the same. Any questions on those edits to chapter 5?
Yeah, go ahead, Rob.
I have one.
Yeah, just one question on the last petition work that was done with the signatures. Was there enough, did the form itself get kind of crowded with all the stuff we're looking to make sure that is added to it? For example, the name, address, printed name, signature, email, telephone. Is there enough room in there where someone can actually read it, that someone's not using a miniature writing to fill in the line?
So Chair and members, I think that's a great question. I'm glad you asked it. This is only for those 5 committee members. It's not for everyone that's signing.
Okay,
So I think that there should be enough room, and usually that information is typed
okay.
because it's submitted to the city clerk on the petition. So I think it should be readable, one, and small enough to still have enough room.
ahead, Ron.
Sir, I just have a question whether or not in the recall,
Recall, that says referendum.
some referendum, I'm sorry.
Go back one, Adrian. Yep.
In the, as I'm.
In the petition
having trouble
box?
Figuring out where it is relative to. Anyway, it's a question of, the referendum can be a repeal or a vote. And in the box, it doesn't say that. It just says for the vote.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
And I think I understand the question that you're asking. It's a little bit subtle here, but I think I think that like appeal and submission to the vote are like the same thing.
Well, except that in a repeal, the council can do it itself. And so it seems like you should, it would be consistent, the upper paragraph, which says proposing the repeal or the well, there are 2 ways to repeal it, I guess. One by council and one by voter. I'm not sure it's necessary. I'm just raising the
Yeah.
question as the inconsistency.
So Chair, just be happy to take a look, to bring this back again if you'd like. I'm just comparing the different petition boxes here. And the referendum and the recall talk about submitting it to the voters registered in Bloomington. We have an election. And that is consistent with the petition as well. Petition with the council. I think repeal or,
At this point, the council has the choice, it seems to me, petition the council for repeal or for submission to the voters. So once the petition is validated and all the signatures are submitted and so forth, the council could just say, okay,
we're going to repeal it, yeah.
So thinking about your proposal here, what you're really proposing perhaps is kind of at the end of the line that starts with the undersigned petitioners and it ends with petition the city council. You're saying that it should say
for repeal,
for repeal.
it's a submission.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. I think I see what you're talking about there.
Oh.
You have any thoughts on that?
And it's confusing as written.
Yeah.
That's all. I just.
It could be so much easier.
For sort of a theme.
Huh?
That's sort of a theme in the charter.
Sure, but again, as I said, I don't think it's right when these are for people who want to do a petition, and they should be able to read it and understand what they have to do without having someone translate it.
The grade level, did you say you had mentioned a grade level?
Chair and members, when we write ballot questions and ballot education, we strive for a 12th grade level. So in looking at the subsequent sections of the referendum section. So once the petition is complete, the council can reconsider the ordinance, which is what I believe what you're getting to. So the council could take action. It doesn't automatically go to the voters. So. Sure.
So theoretically, if the council takes action, then the petition itself is moved. There's no point in it.
Well, the petition.
The petition-
Operates.
Yeah.
Through the council's action.
Petitions or prompts the council, forces the council to reconsider if it wants to.
Mhm.
Yeah. Petition the council for repeal. Or it's, I like that. Petition the council, so it would say here. Petition the council for repeal or its submission to the vote. That's more technically accurate. And that's what's going, person to person, but
Yeah.
So are you thinking, what you saying petition the council for repeal or its submission to a vote? Is that what you're thinking?
repeal or.
Or mission.
Yeah.
And you
or
could
put
strike,
repeal
strike,
Or. It's
or you could strike its thing.
Well, would be petition the council to repeal or
For repeal is, oh, yeah, well,
To, technically, they're reconsidering it, technically what's happening.
It's a consideration, right,
Mhm.
of the ordinance.
But I think they're asking in kind of natural terms, they're asking council to repeal it. That's what ordinary, I think that's what ordinary people want. to think.
Right. Just so they would do it the appropriate way, I'm sure.
Yeah, and if you look at the beginning of 5.11, a petition for the repeal or submission. So it would be repeating that language for repeal or submission. I almost think maybe would read here in that section that I was pointing to before, petition the council for repeal or submission. Right?
yeah,
That would mimic the language at the top
True.
up there, repeal or submission,
Submission.
and then strike it.
Keep it
and
consistent.
remove its.
But if it's
Yeah.
submitted to a vote, isn't the submission to vote to repeal it? Or it can be like, you can also submit it to, I want this adopted, right? So is it to have an ordinance adopted or to repeal it?
So this is just the referendum, which is solely about repeal.
It is, that's my question.
Yeah, it's just
Initiative
about
is
repeal.
About repealing?
This is on.
Yeah, it's on- right. Right, that's what a referendum is. Yeah.
A petition for the repeal of an ordinance. The repeal by the voters of an ordinance. Why repeal or submission of a vote? Because they go together.
So the repeal, you're asking the council can repeal it. So you're asking for two things.
Oh,
First thing you're asking city council, please repeal this.
okay.
And if they don't do that, then it goes.
Then you can get.
Then it goes to,
Right.
yeah.
Why not adopt language from the initiative petition and section 0.05?
Repeal or reconsider.
Petition by council for adoption or submission to the-
Chair members, the reason I think that language doesn't work is because initiative is adopting new language. So they're petitioning the council to say, please adopt this ordinance. And if they don't, and if the council doesn't adopt it, then it goes to the voters.
Like, for example, some adoptions would be called. I'm trying to, like, the previous petition.
It's different.
Oh, in recall,
Recall it
the
too.
council doesn't have any action. It has to go to the voters.
Yeah, it goes to the voters unless the person resigns.
All of an elected official.
Or sorry, I think it's a referendum. I mean,
Yes, so I think what this is that if you go back to the initiative petition page here, for example, if you read the text down there, I think what you're proposing is that we lift that, changing one word, saying petition the council for its repeal. Lift that whole sentence, changing that one word and, yeah,
Changing adoption
yeah.
to repeal.
Yep, and then at the end, you have to say approval or disapproval in order to kind of make that clear.
Or in lieu thereof, it's submission to the voters.
For their approval or disapproval. Yeah.
Well, no, because the voters can only approve.
Well, this is, we're talking about the lifted stuff brought over to the referendum section.
Oh, I see.
So we can have both petitions similar.
Yeah. Karen, that address is kind of, you're trying to kind of make it be similar.
Yeah.
So, but that would remove the language about it being detrimental to the welfare of the city. Is that also your desire, members? So right now,
That just,
if you go to referendum, the next one, it says, understanding the nature of the ordinance attached and believing it to be detrimental. That would go away as well.
Does that really change anything though, if you take that out? Somebody's going through all the work of repealing it, they must think it's definitely.
It's an effort to sell it.
There's no finding by anyone that it's actually detrimental. It's just the voters deciding whether to keep it or not, right?
So I can go into this PowerPoint and edit it live.
It's on SharePoint?
It's on the C drive. That's where you grabbed it from.
Yes.
Mhm.
I'll have to close it and open it again, but yeah.
Would that be something that
Sure.
would like? Okay.
It's a sense of the group that we'd like to see that, yeah.
Okay. Adrian, common.
Common, no, common projects, then charter. Green.
While we're waiting on this, does anybody else have anything else they want to suggest?
what was that?
Anybody have any other changes they want to suggest here while on the list?
No, I don't.
Anything else on the agenda? I guess we could go through 6. That one's real simple. Do you want me to pop over to that?
Well, why don't we edit this and kind of get this done?
Okay.
Well,
No pressure.
No pressure.
That's not a problem.
Pressure.
yeah,
When the resolutions get signed.
Propose that we change it to the undersigned voters registered in Bloomington or leave the undersigned petitioners? Were we lifting?
We were just gonna take the undersigned voters registered to vote in language and just forklift it over, changing the patent to repeal, adding word disapproval to the end of the sentence.
Okay.
The change that was being discussed.
Okay.
The alternative for this is to come back to it.
Right. Fine, 5 more minutes.
So
I'm committed. All right.
do you have a dad joke you can share with us?
You know, the nice thing about it, my age, I forgot all of them.
Ed, I'm looking at 5.05 where there's that language, and I don't think I missed it on, which one was it? 5. The other one for the repeal, where there's that language where it says the undersigned voters registered in Bloomington, understanding the terms and the nature of the ordinance, petition the council for its adoption. This is on 5.05.
Yeah.
Or in lieu thereof, for permission to the voters registered in Bloomington for their approval. I don't see that language on the one for the.
I think the idea is that we're gonna bring that over to the.
Oh, was that it? Oh, okay.
The idea is that.
Okay, I was reading that. Yeah, that's.
5.05 language.
Okay.
So it's all the same.
Sorry that I missed that. I was
Yeah.
reading, trying to figure out, going between them.
So I'm gonna make edits to after this, I can also do it.
I made a fresh version, a fresh PowerPoint. So it's slide 6. There we go.
There, you got it. Anderson,
Yeah, so we're talking about the blue here.
It's in the nature of the ordinance,
Okay, let me share with the screen again.
for its repeal or in lieu thereof, or its submission to the voters.
Yeah.
So the orange is the text that's currently there, and then the blue is carried over.
So the one thing on here that we discussed that I'm not seeing is at the end.
You have to add.
blue sentence.
Approval or disapproval.
Or-
Yep. Okay.
Let me add that now.
I'm going to, right here. I'll do it right here.
We agreed to remove the detrimental language from this one.
Yeah, that's so that it just kind of gets rid of that detrimental language, which at least from my perspective, doesn't mean anything, just extra words in there. So
Okay. So now, okay, wow.
I think we get it closer to the 12th grade understanding.
yeah. Yeah.
Now, if you do a spell check, how many errors?
Not gonna do that now, Ross. I'm just trying to make more work.
Does it, Chair, do you think it adds value to say the voters registered in Bloomington? I'm just curious. I'm not saying that it doesn't. I'm just, it feels like more words. I don't know.
I think it does because a lot of times when you're circulating petitions, like people go to the farmer's market and circulate a petition and it's random people.
Mhm.
And I think there's a certain set of people who read it and say, oh, I'm not a registered voter of Bloomington. I'm not gonna sign it. So
Okay.
that's like, but you have to be a registered voter.
Right.
I just asked because
Sure, not.
language in the other one didn't used to say
Yeah.
that, just said petitioners. So I
I
didn't,
think it actually improves things that to put it in that other one too. Probably increases the likelihood that the number of.
Are valid.
You get are actually used.
Mhm. And they check them anyway.
Yeah.
Just a curiosity, why isn't it limited to those voters who actually voted in the last election?
That's a.
That's a political
Chair,
question, I
that
guess.
Karen, members, it just isn't required because I don't think you could. It isn't required. I think it would be terribly challenging to administer that as well. Plus, arguably the people that are coming up to vote on this didn't necessarily vote in the last election because it was an ordinance that was adopted by the council. So it doesn't, I mean, if you're speaking of recall, I guess perhaps that would apply there, but with regard to referendum,
Or
they're seeking-
or the initial.
initiative, they're seeking to undo or to do something that the council did
I think more
or didn't do.
fundamentally, in order to get 7 votes for what we're doing here, what we have to propose is have to be not controversial. Okay. So I think we could have a conversation around that, but I personally would oppose including it in this because I think it converts this from being something that will likely just kind of slide right through the council to something that probably would pick up at least.
I'm not suggesting we do it. I'm just curious as to why it isn't.
I think because it is, I think it's probably
Somebody decided it,
the model charter in 1960.
model charter.
Yeah,
Took it from, had that,
by other, it's the way that's done, yeah,
a lot of things that are in here that are just like that.
other places.
It'd be a challenge administratively.
It'd be very hard, wouldn't it?
Yeah. I think it makes sense.
So, say you.
Sorry, is there another version that you?
Nope. Nope. Well, I mean, yes, I did. Yes, I did make that edit. To 6.
There we go. Okay, so the question here right now is regarding the 5.11 language, which is the referendum language, and we've made this change to it. So it's
Right.
that reflects our intent around. I think it's an improvement. That was a good suggestion.
Gold star for Ron Barnes.
We adopt it if you need some.
There you go. Put that on the refrigerator.
Yeah.
Okay, any objection to including that in the final motion? Not hearing one. So I think the question at this point, this is point 1. And
Here are the resolutions. There's 2 resolutions, one for chapter 5 and one for chapter 6. That they'll travel separately.
Right.
we have talked about chapter 5 right now. So let's do the text.
Chapter 5.
So on the page that's marked in the corner, got a resolution, making a recommendation. Motion to adopt that would be. Moved by Jamil. Is there a second? Second. Seconded by Ron. I saw Ron's hand first. Any discussion? So this is with the change that's shown on the screen.
Yeah.
For
Yep.
5.11.
Right.
Okay.
Mhm.
Any discussion?
Right.
Hearing no further discussion, we will come to a vote. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion is adopted unanimously. The resolution is adopted. We'll go on to the chapter 6 changes.
Okay.
Printing this. Okay. All righty.
The only thing that's changing here is deputy. Deputy.
Correct. Chair and members, that is the only thing changing. The title of this position in the marketplace and in the profession has changed. And deputy is the more commonly used term. And so there's a desire to modify that language. It updates our financial management policies and in our compensation plan and in our employment roles. And so the hope and goal would be that we would time the adoption, the amendment of those documents as well to correspond to the effective date of this ordinance.
Okay.
Any discussion on this one? One thing I will mention is that, just to recall, there were some other language changes in here that we talked about doing. Those didn't get done in time for this, and so
Right.
had a little bit of time urgency about it, and so we're moving this forward and we'll circle back on those other items. So with that, any other questions or comments about this change?
No.
Not hearing any. So on the page that's marked 28 on the right hand corner, there's a resolution applying in section 6. 606 and 607 of the charter, a motion to approve that would be in order.
I'd so move the resolution.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? No discussion, we'll come to a vote all the by saying. Okay. Carries unanimously. Nothing in section 7 to 8. 9, which.
Mayor, can I finish PowerPoint on? So here's the statute. I thought it'd be helpful just
Go
to
ahead.
see what's happening here. So with regard, so here we are in the orange right now. This, you all are making a recommendation to the city council. And then there's a cadence of what has to happen. Within a month, they have to receive it. That's going to happen on Monday night. Oh, remember Ramirez. We've put a placeholder in the agenda so that we'll replace it with this information and update it, and then that will be formally received. We want to do that because the timing of this is important, so we want to mark that date. And then we'll publish notice. The notice will contain the text of the actual text of these amendments. And then there will be 2 public hearings, one on chapter 5 and one on chapter 6. And as I mentioned before, there needs to be a unanimous vote. And then within 1 month, that vote has to happen. So there are 2 meetings that it can happen at in June, and I've worked with staff to poll the members, and they understand the importance of everyone being there. And so we are optimistic that that will happen in June. And then we publish it in the Sun Current in its totality. And then if we don't get a petition requesting a referendum of it, then within 60 days, within 90 days, then it's effective. All right, so the next, here's what that looks like.
Okay. Hearing. It's June 3rd.
So the public hearing will either be on June 2nd. My suggestion is that it'll be on June 2nd. That's when we're going to publish it. There's a chance, I guess, that they would open it on June 2nd and continue it until June 30th. Just in case it didn't have everyone there or whatever might have happened. Just to note for everybody that there is a meeting in between those 2, but it's a study meeting. The council has gone back to having study meetings, and there's a desire to not have it at the study meeting. But it is possible. It's a regular meeting of the city council, so they could move it to that as well. But this is the most likely scenario. All right, any questions? And that will be in traveling with the materials as well. All right.
Will we edit this for edits?
No edits to the title, no. All right.
Okay, let's move on to 9 point in the report on page 51 of the agenda. So the only change a little bit. Any discussion regarding the annual report? Seeing none, I would receive a motion to adopt the annual report. That is our second. Jamil.
Do that one?
Mark moved it and Jamil will have the second. Report. Hearing none, will come to a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Carries unanimously. Is there any other business to come before the commission? I would be willing to entertain a motion to adjourn
So moved.
by Brenna. Seconded by,
Michael.
It's Michael.
it's not debatable, so all those in favor saying aye.
Okay.
Opposed, the motion carries. We are.